I start a game, I don't have the right wristband?
Yeah.
I start a football game, I don't have the right wristband. And we're supposed to be evaluating this? Again, welcome. Everybody who's not a fan of the Browns before the season and you're taking it all in, welcome, because this is par for the course. And constantly getting in your own way. And I'm going to sit here and talk until I lose my voice again.
An insider from the Cleveland Browns just went on ESPN Cleveland and dropped a huge bombshell that is shaking up the whole NFL. They let it slip that Kevin Stefanski had been planning something against Shedeur Sanders since the beginning. And the proof is so strong that even Browns reporters who spent the whole season defending the organization are now admitting on the air that they helped spread lies and false information about Shedeur. This isn't just a guess anymore. This isn't the realm of conspiracy theories. Browns insiders are admitting on ESPN that there were plans in place to bury Shedeur Sanders before he ever had a chance to prove himself. And what we are about to show you will blow your mind because it goes deeper than anyone thought. This is a direct quote from ESPN Cleveland. We did a survey on Wednesday and asked, what's the biggest worry going into the season? It was about the start of the year, and I said plans, and there were plans, and there were plans, and only now have we really seen it play out that the agenda, whether it was Flacco, Pickett, Gabriel, or anyone else who wanted to be smarter and right, ended up being wrong. A Browns insider just told everyone on ESPN Cleveland Radio that there were plans in place from the start of this season. Many people in that building had already picked their favorites and were actively working to make sure their guy got the chances, no matter who was actually doing better. But it gets even crazier than that first admission. Another person who works on the same show said something that should make every Browns fan very angry. He said, and I am quoting him directly, "My first thought was, wow, that was big of Lima to admit that." He didn't have to give in to all of that right then and there. He was basically admitting that the Browns were giving him a lot of information, and he was buying it like a sucker at the poker table. Did you hear that? A Browns reporter just said that the team gave him information that was meant to make Shedeur look bad. This information was misleading or completely false, and he believed it completely. Then he went out and told Browns fans and the general public that false information through his reporting. This same reporter went on to make an even worse confession. Oh my God, I can't believe he did that behind the scenes about Shedeur's lack of progress and all the other things, and then it was all nonsense. And at the same time, people like Lima were yelling at me. No, you're not talking to the right people. People there say, he can't do anything, can't even hold a football. It's like, no guys, he can. He did really well in school. I'm telling you, this will work. But what drives me crazy is that you just took what they said and ate it up and then tried to spoon feed it to everyone. Think about yourself. Have your own opinion. Don't just believe what the Browns say. This is completely new in sports media, so let me explain what just happened. Browns reporters have said on the air that the organization was giving them false information about Shedeur Sanders, especially about his supposed lack of progress and skills. People were telling them that he couldn't even hold a football right, that he wasn't ready, and that he wasn't working hard enough. And these reporters didn't check the facts for themselves before telling the public about them as if they were true. Now that Shedeur has finally gotten on the field and completely dominated, throwing for 364 yards and 4 touchdowns, leading multiple comeback drives, and looking like a real franchise quarterback, these same reporters have to admit they were wrong and that they were used as pawns to spread a false story. But let us go back even further, because this plan didn't start when the season started. This goes back to July and August, when the team was in training camp in Berea, Ohio. Do you remember the reports from ESPN Cleveland and the Browns' official media channels that tracked the quarterbacks? Those reports from practice that were meant to show fans how the quarterbacks were doing. So here is what those QB tracker reports really said. And this is a fact that you can check for yourself. From the first day he got there, Shedeur Sanders was better than every other quarterback on that team. Anyone could see the data in black and white. In practice, Joe Flacco was completing 58% of his passes. Shedeur Sanders, on the other hand, had the best quarterback rating in camp from day one. Take a moment to think about that and let it sink in. From the start, there was proof. The numbers are true. There was no doubt about the numbers. This wasn't a test of subjective evaluation, or this was all about tracking, completing, measuring, and making decisions based on objective data. But what happened? Shedeur was the fourth-string quarterback, which meant he was at the bottom of the depth chart. They told this young man that he was going to be redshirted, which meant that he wouldn't even play in a game during his first season. That doesn't make any sense at all. How can you say that your own internal tracking data and metrics show that your quarterback is the best in the building, but you still put him behind Joe Flacco, Mason Rudolph, and Dillon Gabriel? How does that happen if nothing else is going on? Unless there is an agenda at work that has nothing to do with performance or merit. This conversation that took place on ESPN Cleveland shows everything. The host asked directly, was Shedeur the best quarterback in July in Berea during training camp? And the insider said, yes. The QB tracker says so, yes. Then came the terrible follow-up question. Does it bother you that your professional football team couldn't find the best quarterback in their own building? The answer was just, yes. People who work for the Browns are now openly saying on the radio that the team didn't find the best quarterback they had. They could see the data right in front of them. There was no denying the performance. The QB tracker, which was their own way of judging quarterbacks, clearly showed that Shedeur was the best, and they still put him at fourth string. That is not just bad judgment or a bad evaluation of the coach. That is not a mistake that was made on purpose. That is a plan to keep Shedeur Sanders off the field on purpose, no matter how good he is or how well he played. And here is something else that makes this even more suspicious and shows how deep the plan is. Kevin Stefanski didn't say Shedeur's name in public for 2 whole months. 2 whole months. This guy was on the team, came to practice every day, and worked really hard. According to the data, he was better than everyone else. For 2 full months, the head coach wouldn't even say his name or talk about him in public. What do you say to that? If there is not a deep personal issue or a plan behind it, how can you explain not even mentioning a player by name for 2 months? That is not how people usually act. That is not very professional. That is a private matter. Now, let us talk about something that makes this whole thing even more confusing and shows the plan even more. Reporters asked Browns owner Jimmy Haslam directly how important it was for the rookie quarterback to get game experience before the 2026 draft, when the Browns will have high draft picks again. And this is what Haslam said: of course, yes, for sure. Kevin knows that. He knows how important the quarterback is, and he and Andrew Berry talk about things like that all the time. We talk about it every day. The owner of the team, who also signs everyone's paychecks, has said on the record that it is very important for rookies to get game experience. He makes it clear that Kevin Stefanski knows this is a top priority and that the coach and general manager talk about it every day. But what really happened? Dillon Gabriel got the starting job and first-team reps, but Shedeur, who was doing better than Gabriel according to the QB tracker data, was put on the fourth string and told he would be redshirted. If the owner says the rookies need game experience and Shedeur was doing better than Dillon in practice, how does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. Unless there was a specific plan to go after Shedeur Sanders in particular, not rookies in general, because Dillon Gabriel got to play. This is the key that unlocks everything. Not against quarterbacks who don't have a lot of experience, since they started Joe Flacco, who wasn't familiar with their system. The main goal of this was to keep Shedeur Sanders off the field at all costs. We even have video proof that makes this even more confusing. There is video of Jimmy Haslam hugging Deion Sanders at a Colorado game, being friendly, showing support, and showing respect. He asks Coach Prime, "How are you?" on camera. "How are you doing? We're happy to have you. We handle it. Do you need anything?" So it is clear that the owner of the Browns has a good relationship with the Sanders family. The owner says in public that Shedeur was the best quarterback in camp, but Stefanski puts him at fourth string and doesn't say his name for 2 months. He only plays him when injuries and other things force him to. That tells you everything you need to know about where the agenda really came from. This wasn't coming from the owners. This came straight from the coaching staff, and Kevin Stefanski himself was in charge of it. The Browns insider on ESPN Cleveland basically confirmed this when he said, "I don't think Stefanski wanted any part of Shedeur from day one." Take a moment to think about what that means. Kevin Stefanski, who is in charge of the Cleveland Browns talent evaluation and putting the best players on the field, didn't want Shedeur Sanders on his team, no matter how well he played. This had nothing to do with merit. It wasn't about who gave them the best chance to win. This was a plan. And now we know that this wasn't just a difference in how the coaches saw things, or a difference in how they thought. There was an active, planned effort to keep Shedeur off the field, no matter what he did in practice. But it gets even worse when you hear what they did to try to explain this plan after the fact. The insider went on. Tony wrote today, and I need to ask him about this, because I don't know where he got it or if he's just guessing, but he basically tried to say today that Shedeur wasn't working hard at first, and that's what turned people off in the building. I don't know if that's true, but I do know that it's really hard for a young person like Shedeur to deal with being told they're gonna redshirt you when you're fourth string. I'm not saying I would have gone into a closet and turned everyone off, but it's hard to stay interested when people don't believe in you. So now that we know everything, including that Shedeur was the best according to the QB tracker data, and that he has dominated on the field, there are still Browns media people trying to explain what happened by saying Shedeur wasn't working hard enough. But the person on the inside who was talking about this pushed back right away, saying he didn't know if it was true, and explaining how hard it was for Shedeur. You are new to the organization, and according to objective data, you are better than everyone else at camp. Instead of being rewarded for that performance, you get put on the fourth string and told you won't play all year. How can any young player stay motivated and interested every day when the organization has made it very clear that they don't want you no matter how well you play? That is not because Shedeur doesn't work hard. That is the organization making things hard for the player and then blaming them for not being able to handle it. This is a form of psychological warfare. This is purposely hurting a young player's confidence. This is setting things up so that someone will fail and then using that failure as a reason not to play them. It is a trick. It is not right. And that is exactly what Kevin Stefanski and others in that building did to Shedeur Sanders. They made it so that he couldn't win. From the start, they made it clear they didn't want him. Even though he did well, they wouldn't give him chances. And then when he naturally had trouble staying fully engaged in that toxic environment, they leaked stories to the media about how he wasn't working hard enough, which they used as an excuse to keep burying him. But this is what they didn't expect. They didn't think that Shedeur would be so mentally strong. They didn't think he would have such strong faith. They didn't expect him to have a father who has seen and done it all in professional sports and knows exactly how to help his son deal with problems, politics, and agenda. They didn't think that God would protect this family, and that is true. When you look at the Sanders family's history, you see how many times people have tried to tear them down with hate and schemes and agendas. Every time it backfires, they get through it and they end up being right. You start to see that there is something bigger going on here. They tried to put Shedeur down to fourth string. It didn't work. He is now the starter and looks like he will be a Pro Bowler in the future. They got media members to spread lies and false information about him. Did not. Now those same media people have to say on air that they had agendas and that they gave out false information. They tried to keep him off the field all season by giving him a red shirt. Injuries and other things that went wrong made them have to play. And now he is in the news and making history. Kevin Stefanski thought that not playing Shedeur would show that he was smarter than everyone else. It went horribly wrong. Stefanski's job is now in a lot of trouble. People are questioning his ability to make decisions and evaluate players. And other coaches and analysts are calling him out on a national level. That is what happens when you move with an agenda instead of with honesty. That is what happens when you let your personal feelings and ego get in the way of your work. That is what happens when you try to ruin a young man's career because you don't like his last name. You are jealous of the attention he gets, or you are too proud to admit you were wrong in your judgment. Eventually, the truth always comes out. And now all the people who are involved in the plan to get rid of Shedeur are coming out one by one. And I want to make something very clear. It is not just about Shedeur Sanders and his story. As interesting as that is, this is about every young player who gets drafted into a situation where the coaches have already decided they don't want them before they even get there. This is about every athlete who is good enough to play but doesn't get to because of politics, agendas, and personal preferences that have nothing to do with how good they are. How many talented players have had their careers ruined or put on hold for a long time because a coach liked one player better and didn't give the better player a fair chance? How many future stars were cut or traded away before they could show what they could do because someone in the building didn't want them for reasons that had nothing to do with football? The NFL is supposed to be the best place for people to get ahead based on their skill. No matter where they were drafted, how much they make, or who the coach likes best, the best players should always play. But what happened to Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland shows that this isn't always true. Sometimes plans are more important than skill. Politics can sometimes be more important than performance. Egos can sometimes get in the way of excellence, but this is the beautiful, redemptive part of the story that gives me hope. Shedeur still got there, even though there was an agenda and lies were spread about him. Even though he was buried at fourth string, Kevin Stefanski didn't want anything to do with him. Reporters were given false information to spread to the public, and all of that, Shedeur Sanders still found a way to get on the field and show the world what he could do. And now, in real time, all the people who were part of the plan are being revealed. People who work for the Browns are going on ESPN and admitting that there were plans from the start. Reporters have to publicly explain and apologize for spreading false information that the organization gave them. People are asking coaches a lot of questions about how they evaluate players and make decisions. The truth is coming out little by little. The truth is that Kevin Stefanski and other people in the Browns organization had a secret plan to make sure Shedeur Sanders didn't succeed. But do you know what the best thing to do about all of this is? Shedeur just kept going. He kept having faith. He kept getting ready. He got rid of the people who didn't like him. He got rid of the agenda. He got rid of the lies, the negative people, and the people who didn't believe in him. And when he finally got his chance, when they had no choice but to put him on the field, he completely took over. 4 touchdowns and 364 yards against the Titans. Multiple comeback drives from double-digit deficits, making plays inside structure as well as outside of structure, showing elite accuracy, outstanding pocket presence, and natural leadership. He is breaking Browns rookie records and looking better than Cam Ward, the first overall pick. That all proves what we have been saying all along. Shedeur Sanders is a franchise quarterback who didn't get a fair chance in Cleveland because the coaching staff was out to get him from the start. And now he has a really hard time coming up. The Buffalo Bills have Josh Allen. The Chicago Bears have Caleb Williams. The New York Jets have Aaron Rodgers. And the Cincinnati Bengals have Joe Burrow. 4 games against 4 of the best quarterbacks in the league. This is Shedeur's chance to prove that he is not only a good quarterback or a promising rookie, but also an elite quarterback who should be talked about with the best in the game. Kevin Stefanski and everyone else who was part of that agenda against him will look even more foolish if he keeps doing what he has been doing, making history, breaking records, and leading his team. Because in the end, talent always wins. The truth always comes out. Players who are meant to be great will be great, no matter what people do to stop them. That is true, and Shedeur Sanders is living proof of it. As long as you keep working, believing and trusting that your time will come, you can get past agendas, lies, and people who don't want you to succeed. And now that his time has come, everyone who doubted him, everyone who was part of the plan, and everyone who lied about him has to watch him shine. Every week, they have to watch him prove them wrong. That is the best way to get back at someone. Not getting angry, not arguing in public, just doing such a great job that even your enemies have to admit you are great. So since Browns insiders are admitting on ESPN that there was a plan, here is my question for everyone.